Well, I think racing has always been a part of my life anyway.
The same as me. My dad's a massive F1 fan.
Oh yeah.
When we go on like family holidays, we always have to go-karting, and he thinks that he's like Lewis Hamilton.
I think now and always been, it still comes down to money.
So I guess that's where you start, isn't it? Karting, because that's where all racing drivers sort of start, isn't it?
I think starting racing competitively is 6 to 8, but some of them might jump in the car at 4 and to go around.
When you're like an inch off the floor, flying at 80 miles an hour, it's pretty hairy, isn't it?
Yeah, revving like at 15, maybe 16,000 RPM.
Who was P1? Who was P2 though?
Oh, it was me definitely P1. You know, as much as I used to bug my dad, I was always P1.
You were basically hurling Porsches around an ice track for the weekend, weren't you? Which sounds good fun.
Even though it was fun, it was still training for me, just in case maybe an opportunity might come back up again.
You're so close to the limit. You're so close to the edge.
But you put them all in the same car, I think it'll be close.
Right, we're back. Episode number 10. Double figures now of Talking Tekkers. And today we have another guest with us. We've got a racing car driver today, which is exciting. This is Josh Mason. Josh, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
So,
interesting
Jordan, dive straight into it, I guess, early life.
Yeah, straight into it. Off the grid. Let's get going, nice and sharp. So yeah, Josh, obviously we've met, I say fairly recently, the last few months at Madison's. Obviously we had a few of the coaches on. We've had Jerome. We met during the run club. Obviously got chatting over fitness, sport, and then kind of heard about your background and racing car driving. Obviously ears pricked up and got intrigued. So yeah, and obviously we meet kind of most weeks now, join the Friday run club, and we thought we'd get you on and tell the world about the race car experience and kind of what you're doing now and inspiring the younger generation and mentoring young kids. And yeah, so let's see what the world of racing is all about. So yeah, so starting off, obviously you obviously the main reason obviously why we met is you grew up around here. Obviously we were both Hayward Heath, myself and Ben Hayward Heath, and you went to school at Great Woolstead, is that right?
Yeah, went to Woolstead, started there at nursery all the way to year 8 when I was 13.
Nice. I mean, did you live in and around Linfield, or did you live further afield at the time, or?
Oh, at the time, I currently still live outside Uckfield, so I wasn't really based in Hayward Heath, but I know the area fairly well.
Okay, so you were commuting kind of into school, were you? So still living in Uckfield, commuting into Great Woolstead, so it wasn't like you were a real local boy, but 10, 15 minutes outside.
Yeah, I was a bit of an outsider by 15 minutes.
Every minute counts in racing. Every second counts in racing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Very true. What was school like for you growing up? Were you sporty? Obviously going into racing driving, quite a physically demanding sport. Were you very sporty going through school?
Let's say I definitely enjoyed my sports. It was definitely my favorite subject or some favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I think at the time, when I was at Woolstead, football was my main sport, really my main passion at the time.
Yeah.
But when it came to hockey, rugby, cricket, I was okay-ish, let's say. But
Woolstead were always a good school for sport, and still are, I believe. So there's some good facilities. They've just recently put a new Astro in as well. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that Astro came in when I was leaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for some reason when my year left, everything just got better.
So similar to us, exactly the same overhaul. We left. Yeah, the last year we had
1 year, didn't we, with an Astro?
Yeah.
Before that, it was muddy fields and
Yeah, we called it all weather pitch.
Yeah,
as I remember.
The hall's nice as well. We done a lot of work and stuff in Great Woolstead Hall.
Yeah, very good sports hall.
Great facility.
So then, I guess being sporty, what made you want to get into racing driving? Was it a passion you've always had, or was
school
it
runs from
something?
Uckfield to Great Woolstead?
Well, I think racing has always been a part of my life anyway. When I was at school, so the tendency would have been Monday to Friday at school, then playing for Linfield Football Club on Saturday, training Sunday. Well, not match day on Sunday.
Yeah.
But my weekends will be doing that, playing the football, and as soon as I get home to watch F1. So racing's always been part of it. I always loved the games, loved racing, but it was more of a hobby.
And did that come from kind of like your parents? Were they big kind of F1 fans? Family big F1 fans?
Yeah, so David came from, especially my dad. As my dad was a doctor, he used to go to the F1 testing and be one of the medical doctors on site.
Oh, amazing!
So he's met with a lot of racing drivers back in the day, helping them with some injuries they might have had. But my dad definitely wanted to be a driver for sure, like 100%. But I think by the time when he was a kid, drivers were dying literally every week.
Yeah.
So I think his parents said, absolutely not. You're not going to do that. So I think maybe my dad's like, okay, Josh, you think you can do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, racing's always been around me.
The same as me. My dad's a massive F1 fan.
Oh yeah.
When we go on like family holidays, we always have to go-karting, and he thinks that he's like Lewis Hamilton. He never wins.
Yeah, we had an interesting go-karting experience in Marbella last year on the back of us, in the middle of a stag do. I think about 4 blokes chunned it up just before we went on track. So it wasn't the best go-kart, and I'm pretty sure Josh would have lapped us a few times if you'd have been on that trip.
So I guess that's where you start, isn't it? Karting, because that's where all racing drivers sort of start, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much the starting point. It's definitely in go-karting. So the average age is usually around 6 to 8 where they start. I think starting racing competitively is 6 to 8, but some of them might jump in the car at 4 and to go around.
Oh, wow.
So really, really young. But that wasn't really the case for me. I started at 14, which is like a dreamy late to start. And from there, we had to work really, really hard. I think I had to work a little bit harder than everyone else to try and catch up.
Yeah.
Just getting that experience, I suppose, and confidence behind the wheel.
Yeah, which at that age is quite a lot to take in.
And is that like electric go-karts? Was that petrol? Indoor circuits, outdoor? Was it everything, I suppose? Or
so outdoor professional racing karts. So those karts are extremely fast. They probably go like 80 miles an hour.
Non-restricted.
When you're like an inch off the floor, flying at 80 miles an hour, it's pretty hairy, isn't it?
Yeah, revving like at 15, maybe 16,000 RPM, depending on what engine you have. But really, actually, before even go-karting even came on the scene, me and my dad used to do a lot of sim racing against each other and against the public. So when I was probably 11, 12, we used to go to this place called Let's Race in Hawley. And
I remember that actually. That's like on the crossroads, on the traffic lights.
Traffic lights, yeah.
Is that that's now with the golf warehouses, the golf place?
I think it's changed to a golf place now.
I believe it was one in Hawley. It's like a golf simulator place, similar sort of vibe, I guess.
Yeah, because when I was there, it was sim base, and then they brought in the golf simulators, and they had the racing there.
Yeah,
but me and my dad used to go there when my dad was in the country, and we used to go and race people. And it was quite funny to watch because like you always had the adults walking in there thinking they're the best thing on the planet, and what's this kid is going to do? He's going to be spinning every lap, crashing too much, blah, blah, blah. But like how it worked was that the format was like you go and do practice, then you do qualifying, you go and do the race. And me and my dad would always be like P1 and 2 in the practice.
Who was P1? Who was P2 though?
Oh, it was me definitely P1. As much as I used to bug my dad, I was always P1. And we used to jump out the sims, and you see the competitor's face just drop. Like,
who are these guys?
He's P1. Yeah, he's like 10 years old, and we're like in a proper moving like cockpit. You're actually in a cockpit, and you just go on doing the race. I used to usually lap everyone apart from my dad. And stand on the podium and just enjoy the time with my dad racing on the sim. Even though my dad's was a 6'4", he was still taller than me on the podium, even though I was on the top spec. Still,
does that come into account? Because that was my excuse last year on the stag do because of my size. Yeah, I'm 6'3".
Weight, isn't it? Like racing drivers is a massive thing, isn't it?
Oh, it's a huge thing. I'm 6 foot, which is probably like the average height now for racing drivers. But when you're racing against a kid who's 5'6", has nothing on him,
That was always my dad's excuse. He's heavier than everyone else.
But it definitely helps in the corners. It definitely helps when you're racing in the wet for sure. But but in the dry, you always have to manage your weight.
I'll remember that for next time. Manage my weight.
So then, obviously, you start karting. What's sort of the pathway through that? Do you're good, you win, you sort of progress up, or is it a team thing that you do?
I think it could be a lot of things. Like definitely winning helps for sure. It gets your name out there, shows that you're fast, so you're consistent, and you can win. Yeah. But I think now and always been, it still comes down to money. I think there's still a lot of talented drivers out there who got the talent but just don't have the money, and I think that's what's going on in racing. Like to start in go-karts, parents or families are spending almost 6 figures a year.
Yeah. My cousin, they live up in Scotland. She's massively into karting. She's doing quite well, but I think she got into it off the back of us going on holiday and doing it abroad. And my uncle now, her dad, is taken on like the role of mechanic, everything. Like he's got a van, they drive up and down the country, like doing it. And I think it's quite pricey.
Yeah, it's extremely pricey, especially when you join a team as well. Like parents could be spending between 100,000 a year just in go-karts nationally. Yeah, you've got the European karting, which is probably double that.
And some people think kind of £50 a month subs at football is expensive, and it's crazy. Yeah, so there's some sports that almost, like you're saying, price out a lot of children.
But that's a harsh reality. So we'll come back to your question. Like, winning does help. Yeah, but there's no guarantees that you can move from that level. You know, I think recently I went back to a karting track where I used to race, and this guy who I was racing back then is still racing there now because he doesn't have the money
to progress.
But he's being paid to do that now. He's older, but that's how much money he could have gone to go racing.
Wow. I guess it sounds like it's quite a small circle. In terms of kind of
you quite often hear like the guys in F1 now. They're like, oh, we used to race in karting against each other, so they sort of come up through the ranks racing each other, and now they're in F1. So like, is it a small circle when you sort of see the same faces?
It definitely is a small circle, but the thing is that the sport is very niche as well.
Yeah, of course.
So you're going to see the same people usually week in, week out.
Okay.
That can mean go-karting, or like you said, you can go from go-karting all the way up to F1 together.
Have you had any big names that you've raced against?
Big names. I think on the current grid now, I've raced against people like Jack Doohan, Isaac Hadjar, Ollie Behrman.
They're all sort of coming through now, aren't they? They're sort of their first, second sort of season, isn't it? And they're sort of establishing their name in F1 at the moment.
Yeah, I think for them, they're still finding their feet. I think some drivers are doing it better than others. Yeah. I think that's being shown currently in the season. But those guys who've got there, obviously super, super talented, super, super quick. And I think all the stars aligned for them to be in there. So,
do you notice, do you race against them and you think, they're very, very good?
Sort of one of those questions, like sometimes we probably stand by thinking, he is good. Yeah. But I think when you're out there on track, you think everyone's the best. Yeah. Even you have to be the best.
You back yourself, then.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those
kind of got it really. You can't second guess yourself when you're moving around a track at 200 mile an hour.
No, exactly. But sometimes when you sit back and actually look at your racing background against them, you probably say, they are just that better.
I guess so. What you're saying then is the margin smaller between obviously the top drivers, but everyone else, is it quite close? It isn't a massive gap between kind of the best of the elite. I guess you got the Lewis Hamiltons, the Verstappens of this world, who are up there. But how kind of close are the next? Because I know, like you say, it's all down to money, and most of the time you kind of see first to 10th place are always the same drivers. How close are the rest of the field to actually being capable of racing?
If everyone was in the same car, and it was a level playing field, would you still have those drivers at the top? I guess Max, he seems to be pretty special.
At the end of the day, I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
So that's basically the road to F1. It's basically all in the same
level playing field.
Yeah. In the same similar cars. But as soon as you get to F1, then you also got the manufacturers and all the cars are changed and designed differently and things like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what makes a champion is the driver and car combination. So you look at the Hamiltons, had the best car driver and car combination, went on to win 7 world championships. Yeah. Same as Max, went on to win 4. But you put them all in the same car, I think it'll be close. I think still the Verstappens, Hamiltons will still have a little
just sort of edge it,
yeah.
But it'll be much closer.
So what are you doing at the moment? You've done a bit of F2.
Yeah.
You still doing that now?
No, so I'm actually currently not racing because then day comes down to money.
Yeah.
So at the meantime, I'm still training hard, still eating right, sleeping right, so that if the opportunity ever did come,
Just looking
I
out
am
for
ready.
that next one.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like in F1? Is it kind of you're almost waiting by the phone, waiting for that phone call, making the connections? What are you currently doing at the moment to put yourself in the best? Like you say, you're eating right, you're training right, sleeping right. But how else? I guess you. I know recently you said that you jumped over to. Was it? Where did you go for the ice driving? Where was it?
I
again?
went to Sweden.
Sweden,
Yeah.
that was it. So is that you doing kind of other events for to kind of keep your name out there, to keep you?
Yeah, so you sort of do other events, like I said, to keep your name out there, and also to keep your driving up. Because that's one thing with racing. It's one of those sports you just can't jump and wake up and just do.
Yeah.
Not like football where you need your ball, you need your boots, you need a pitch.
Yeah.
That's it. With racing, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to first of all go to a team saying I want to go testing, and sometimes there might be limited testing in the year.
Yeah.
But some test days, depending on what category you want to test, to test a similar car to Formula 2, you're looking at a £30,000 day, just like that, just to go out to the car
To
But
practice, yeah.
just to practice. And sometimes you might not get it.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the other costs on top of that. Get in there, accommodation, food. If it's abroad, you have to fly there. But at the meantime, all you can do is sim racing. That's the closest you can probably get reasonably.
And I've seen you've got a sim set up at home, haven't you now?
Yeah. I've got a sim at home, which I'm pretty much on every single day.
Yeah.
Just keeping my hand-eye coordination still in place.
I bet it's a little bit better than the old Wii simulators and Mario Kart, isn't it?
Oh, to be fair, Mario Kart was like I'd say Mario Kart's my first ever sim.
I'll tell you what, we should do that. We should us three.
Yeah, I think I'll be definitely down to do that. It'll be a laugh. But yeah, sim is the closest thing you can get to being in the real car.
I was hooked on the F1 game on the PlayStation because that's like so unbelievably like realistic. Like you could change so many things. Like, and I was on that like every day for like 6 months. I loved it.
Yeah, the F1 games it's getting more realistic, which is good to see. But no, I think the games are for basically to have fun with your friends and just have fun and learn about cars. But I think like actual sim rigs, that's when people take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like there's some sim drivers out there who are unbelievably fast. They can beat actual racing drivers on a sim. On a sim. Maybe in a real car, maybe slightly different.
Yeah.
But no, they're the best tools.
And what's your kind of, again, obviously we coach, so we have obviously our practice routines. What would a practice routine on a sim kind of like for you? Just go out and just race? Do you set up certain tracks? Do you look for certain times? Do you work on certain corners?
So yeah, basically that's what the sim is for. So before an event, you'll load up the track and you can have set like sessions on the sim.
Okay.
So you can treat it like a proper weekend. So like you go out, do like an hour practice, then do like a 20-minute qualifying, and then you do a race distance. But the sim's really out there for just learn the track than anything else.
Yeah.
Because when you're out there in the real thing, there's so much more other factors which come into play.
Yeah.
But I know some drivers, even like myself, I take it like a proper like a race weekend.
Yeah.
So I do all the sessions, how it would be done. That could be focus on one corner, focus on the whole track, focus areas where I can go quicker,
Slightly faster, yeah.
But you treat it all the same.
Unreal.
And what other type of driving have you done? Obviously, Jordan mentioned ice driving. Have you ever done like a bit of rally drive or anything like that? Or is it all sort of track based?
It's all been track based. I think, in my opinion, rally drivers are probably the best racing drivers on the planet.
It's very different, isn't it?
It's
like
very
different.
different.
Skill, yeah.
The skill they got, even people, even like MotoGP, like seeing those guys on there are unreal. I love to do rallying one day, but I think I'll stick to the track stuff right
It's
now.
when you watch it and they've got like the guy next to them telling them what corner's coming up, and then you see like the crowd, they like stand on the track, don't they? And they all like sort of lean back as the car
Yeah,
goes
the
flying
whizzes
through, and
past
you're
them.
just thinking like, this is just mental. Like, what is
But
going on?
I think that's where it's great.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's like proper diehard motorsporting fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what I love to see. You know, the fans really getting involved. Okay, yes, there's getting involved in that.
Yeah.
There's being in the way, yeah.
There's being in the way, but no, it's great for the sport.
Tell us a little bit more, because I was intrigued when you went the other day to the ice driving. And we'll get Juice and Nathan. We'll chuck a couple of clips up here for the people to see. But yeah, explain a bit more about you were basically hurling Porsches around an ice track for the weekend, weren't you? Which sounds good fun.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun, but you'll see a lot of racing drivers do it over the off season, because in racing, on the outside the cars look very stable.
Yeah.
You know, they just turn left, they turn right, and they just go around in circles, which that term has been thrown at me a lot over the years. But when you're actually sitting in a cockpit and going with a driver, the car's always sliding. You know, the car's never stable, and you're basically reacting to that slide. So where ice driving comes involved is, yes, it's to the extreme.
Yeah.
But
Traction control right off.
but the car's always sliding, and it's
Yeah.
it's basically how to get that car control and that car feeling of when it's gonna go and how to catch it and things like that.
Yeah.
So when I was doing it in Sweden, no, it was a bit of fun. The people I went with, you know, thought it'd be a good weekend to do.
Yeah.
But even though it was fun, it was still training for me, just in case maybe an opportunity might come back up again.
And who are you kind of learning from when you're out there? Obviously, I know you've got the skill set already, but I guess you're never too experienced at a new thing and something like that. Like you say, if you haven't done it for a little while, who's kind of helping you out and who you kind of looking to?
Yeah, you definitely got driving coaches out there. So we had a driving coach, his name was Dominic. Unbelievable. Like, this guy's car control is just it's just crazy. But like, it's what makes me laugh is like, when he takes you around, he'll be doing it like one-handed, having a full-blown conversation with you and still going fast. Where like when I do it, I wasn't focused on time. I was just focused on let's keeping it sideways as long as possible. I think actually the longest drift I held, keeping a car sideways, never neutral, was like almost 2,000 meters.
Oh wow!
Just keeping it always sliding all the time.
And how long do you reckon Ben or I would last if we went out there and stepped foot in the car?
Probably be facing the other way pretty quickly, I think.
Like your average driver, I guess something like that. You can't just jump in and do.
Yeah, I think it could take you an average driver probably a day, like, to get it. I think people who can adapt quickly, they can do it in half a day, an average driver.
Yeah.
But you know, you see a lot of people spin and put it in thick snow and pull that out and things like that. But I think once you've understood the concept of ice driving, it's probably like one of the best feelings in the world.
Because isn't that part of like the Scandinavian tests, like the driving test, that you have to drive in like snow and certain conditions and like on a skid pan?
I got no idea,
It would
but
make sense,
but it
wouldn't
makes
it?
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
It makes sense for them to do that.
You
for
see,
sure.
even like I know obviously in this country we hardly get snow, but we do get a lot of kind of ice on the roads, and you see people as soon as it drops
When we
below
do
zero.
get snow, it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
game over, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
just
game
no
over.
one can go anywhere.
No. Yeah, I think ice driving will definitely help for that.
Closest thing I've got is to Els bought me a birthday present for one of those supercar track days at where did we go? Where's Top Gear track? What's that called again?
Dunsfold.
Dunsfold. That was it.
There's one there as well.
Yeah, like a 5 supercar thing. You can choose them all. But I must have gone, genuinely, I don't think the weather could have been any worse. It was torrential. So the first lap I did an F-type Jag. That was fine. Really enjoyed it. And then the heavens opened. They put a 40-mile-an-hour limit on the track. Just hazards on. And everyone was just literally you got in the car, like got a Ferrari, and they're just driving 40 mile an hour, just like bumper to bumper. So it was absolutely. So we went home. I didn't finish it at the end. It was a nightmare. But there was a guy. You could go in a hot lap, and there was a guy basically sending, and I think it was a Skyline or a GTR, and he was just absolutely sending it, weaving it in and out of this traffic.
Yeah,
and I just thought that's something else. Unbelievable.
When I did mine there, it's very like instructor dependent. Depends who you get in the car with you. So like the first one that I did, the guy was very like cautious.
Yeah.
And then I got in I think it was in a Ferrari, and as I got in, like the manager came over and said to the guy that I was with, he was like, "You're the fastest car on the track every time you go. You need to like slow down." And then they shut the door, and he looked at me and he was like, "Nah." He was literally just shouting at me. He was like, "Don't brake, don't brake, don't." And I've like got my foot flat. The corner's approaching. And I'm just looking at him like, "What?" And then he's just like, "Yeah, brake." And I was like, "This is just crazy."
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because like a lot of people ask me, would I ever do that?
Yeah.
Jump in someone.
Well, that was my next question. Yeah.
Who's never had an experience in like driving fast, let's say. You know, my answer's still the same. I would love to, but I have to be in control.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones, because like when you come into a corner, you jump in a Ferrari or McLaren or Porsche, you know, I think the average driver, I tell people anyone can put their foot on a straight line. Like they can go down a straight line, but when you tell them to brake, for some reason their brains don't comprehend what you're telling them to do. Instead of hitting the brakes, they press the accelerator, and then you have to try and take over as quickly as possible to keep it safe. But what I like to do, I like taking people around the track so they can have like an understanding and feeling what it's like to push a vehicle to its limits. But the best thing I ever got was there's this guy was like to me, "Oh, like I'm quick for like everyone else here," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm here for you, man. Like, you enjoy whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But I took him around, and I think he was gobsmacked as soon as he got out of the car, because he's like, "I didn't know you can brake that late. I didn't know you can pick up the throttle that early. I didn't know you can crunch that curb like that."
Yeah.
And I think that put a smile on my face a little bit, because of like when I was especially at school, when I started racing, people was like, "Oh, you just go around in circles."
Yeah.
I'm
like,
like,
it's easy. Yeah.
it's so easy. I'm like, yeah, no. And
there's levels to this game.
And when when people jump out, "Oh, that was amazing," or "I had no idea."
That rush,
that rush is sort of like, now you see that this is as a sport, and it is tough to do.
So what's the fastest you've ever gone?
Fastest
car?
Ever gone was definitely in the Formula 2 car around Monza, from the last corner to the turn 1. When I mean peak conditions, I had slipstream, DRS, everything open.
Yeah.
Low fuel. I think it got to 190 miles an hour before hitting the brakes.
Sharp right hand coming up
Yeah,
after that.
But that's the thing, like you can go from 190 miles an hour to about 60 to 40 in 150 meters.
Yeah.
Which is just...
That takes some doing.
Yeah, that's hitting the brakes hard.
Have you ever driven a Formula 1 car?
No, I never driven a Formula 1 car. I really want to. But, you know, also there's only a select few who can get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Could it happen in the future? I think definitely.
Was that the goal? Was it? F1's the goal for you?
I think now my goal is to reach the top level of endurance racing. Which is doing the endurance races of like Le Mans, 24 Hours of Daytona, like the big races, and being a manufactured driver, where I drive their hypercars, which is basically Formula 1 cars with a roof.
Yeah.
I think that's my goal. I think when you start racing, your goal is to get to F1.
Yeah.
I think that's every kid's dream who wants to jump in. But end of the day, there's 20 seats available. There's thousands of you going for it.
Yeah.
Just have to be at the right place, the right time.
That's it.
Again, like every sport.
All the stars just have to align.
Yeah.
You know, because like you look at the previous winners of F2. Okay, yes, Bortoletto got to F1 his first year after winning F2. The year before that, Teo Pourchaire won the championship, didn't get to F1. Felipe Drugovich, year before that, still waiting, and he won a couple of years back. Then Piastri, you know, look at what he's doing. He's in the McLaren, just won the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah,
unbelievably talented driver. But when he won Formula 2 in his first year, there was just no space. So he had a year out, waited, and then the opportunity came.
I guess that's where it's quite a unique sport. Like, you think of football like the Premier League as the top level. You've got 20 teams, but there's
20 players,
squads in all those teams and so many players. Whereas F1, it's
different leagues across the world.
There's 20 seats. That's it.
20
and
seats.
you've got there's no other wiggle room. You're not getting in on the bench or sort of coming on for 20 minutes. It's you get a seat or you don't get a seat, and there's so many people trying to get in that top level.
Well, that's the thing, you know. But it's not even in Formula One. Like even getting to Formula Two is a quite a tall order. Okay, yes, if you've got unlimited money, then you're gonna get you're gonna get there. But like even when I got the opportunity to race Formula 2, it's actually one of those weeks. That week was completely crazy. So I was in Germany at the time. I was testing a car like Formula 2 in Germany. And the night before I was supposed to jump in the car to test, my phone rings at midnight. And actually, currently at this time,
that's usually the worst rings. Those midnight rings. You don't want to pick them up.
Well, there's the thing. Like, I wasn't racing that year.
Right. Okay.
I was just testing for F2 and for 2024. So it's 2023. And I saw it was my dad. So I'm like, okay, I know my dad lives abroad, 6 hours behind. You know, I'll answer. So I go, hi, Dad. How's it going? Blah blah blah. All he said to me was, Josh, you're racing Formula 2 at Spa this weekend.
What a track as well.
Yeah, that was it. So I was like, excuse me? And he said, Josh, you got opportunity to race. Well, no, he said, you got opportunity to race Formula 2. Do you want to do it? That's the question he asked.
Yeah. He went, yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. I'm not throwing that opportunity away.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. I put the phone down, then I realized I'm going to be racing Formula 2 this weekend. So I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep. And I woke up, I'm still awake, went to the track and I went to the team and says, I'll be racing Formula 2 this weekend. They were like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I got the phone call and you know my name was put forward and we're going to do it. But luckily the team I was racing with, they were at this test as well in Germany. So I literally packed my stuff, jumped with them and drove from Germany all the way to Belgium. In the car journey there, I have to do this like online form. It's like a class, and you get exams to do it. It's procedure by the FIA,
right? Okay,
where you basically go through all these slides, and they'll quiz you at the end. And I was doing it in the back of this Renault, just going through the exam, and I passed, which was great. And I rocked up in Belgium around like 10 p.m. on a Wednesday. The next day, Thursday, went to the circuit, and that's where everything just properly like sank in. You see all the F1 bosses walking around. You see the F1 drivers walking around. You know, you're seeing competitors of F2, which I've been watching through the year anyway.
Yeah.
Now you'll be racing them. And I actually rang my sports psychologist, and the first question I asked him is, do you think I'm ready for this? And he goes, Josh, from what you've been doing in your career so far, you've got the capability to do this.
Yeah.
So did a seat fit on a Thursday, which took almost 3-4 hours. And then Friday morning was my first time just jumping in the car to drive. And how it works in Formula 2 is you only have 2 practice sessions on a Friday, and they're only 40 minutes long. They're not long at all. While this actually is going on, this is in Belgium, it was pouring with rain. So I had all the odds
stacked
against me. And like every day was like a new day. Like it wasn't like, okay, I did this yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll do this today. It was always new. And then obviously did the races. Actually made an overtake, which was nice against a guy who's doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
So that was really, really nice. But I was kind of lucky because one of my old teammates, now friend, he was racing the Formula 3 championship, the World Championship. And they go around with F2 and F1. And he was so stoked to see me.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, Josh, how's it going?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the Aussie way, but yeah, he was super, super happy. And he was like, okay, Josh, like, you know, just go out there, have fun, blah, blah, blah. It just gave me like a friendly talk. And the second thing he said to me, Josh, switch off your phone. Like, don't go on your phone the whole weekend because it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
So I muted my phone the whole weekend. As soon I switch on my phone as soon as I get back to the train to come back to England.
Yeah.
Switch my phone on. Hundreds and hundreds of. It was just great. Like I thought my phone was gonna blow up in my hand.
Celeb status.
No, that's what happens when you hit like Formula 3, Formula 2. Like I had like probably 3,000, 4,000 followers by that point. I ended the weekend on 11. Like
wow.
Like as soon as you put your
crazy,
name
yeah.
to that championship, your following just goes crazy. They did a reel with me and it had like probably like 500,000 views on it. Just saying, oh, this is Josh Mason, you know, this is what he's done, this is on track, he's got the opportunity to do Formula 2. And I was like, this is crazy. Obviously, at that time, you do have people saying, oh, he's only there because of money and da-da-da-da. And
the usual critics.
Yeah. But you usually have it. And I think that's one thing which actually I said in an interview saying that it doesn't faze me, those sort of comments, because at the end of the day, you're an athlete. You're not going to please everyone.
Yeah,
of course.
Like, it's just natural. You're going to have supporters. You're also going to have haters. That's just how it goes. But yeah, that whole week was just crazy. And I got home and I saw my mother, and my mother she looked drained when I saw her just watching me go around, because actually 5 months prior to that event, actually a kid at 18 died at that track. Only at 18, which was very upsetting for the whole community of racing.
Yeah.
So they took that weekend and was super cautious, and we were doing it in a pouring rain. So my mum's like, my son is out there, never driven this car before, in the pouring rain, like as a mother does, was worried the whole weekend. And then she was worrying about the comments and what people are going to say. And I said to my mum, don't worry about it.
I bet she couldn't even get hold of you as well. Your phone was off.
My phone was silent. Actually, I probably got like 10 missed calls from mother over the whole weekend. But I can sit down now and say I'm really happy I had the opportunity, and I hope great things come in a different path.
And I guess that is the other side of it. Like, it's such a dangerous sport to be involved in, and the pressures of, you know, like you said, someone has recently died at that track. It's got to be quite daunting for yourself, but also like your family watching as well. Like it's got to be tough.
It is tough. I think as a driver, like, you don't really acknowledge it until people speak to you about it.
Yeah,
sort of thing. So like I've had questions when people ask me, like, do you think you're gonna die? And like, when people ask me that sort of question, you're sort of like, actually, I could.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think about it when you're doing it
until someone asks you.
Until someone asks you. Yeah, I think as a driver, you just have to just be wary about everyone else around you, because like it says, you know, you got families. Some have partners. You know.
Yeah.
You're putting your life at risk when you go on that. As soon as you go on that track.
Yeah.
For some reason, we just enjoy doing it. To be honest,
It's the adrenaline, isn't it? It's such a adrenaline rush type of sport, and I guess the sport almost hooks you in and keeps you, because you're so close to the limit, you're so close to the edge.
It is a rush, but this is what I've been working on with my psychologist. Even though it's a rush, everything has to be super calm.
Yeah,
and it's quite a weird combination.
Because I guess if you get into that mindset of then you're going to make mistakes, whereas if you've got to be calm and in control the whole time.
I think the best way I describe it to people is I call racing, it is controlled aggression. That's basically what it is. The car's going fast, but you have to go slow. And I think that's what makes a quick driver.
Nice. And moving on to your point, you said there you had a sports psychiatrist.
Yeah.
By sounds of things from an early age. How did you, and like you alluded to off air before we started the podcast, obviously everyone sees F1 as the glitz and the glam and Monaco and all the rest of it, but obviously it's not always that. And like you say, like we said earlier, there's only 20 seats in an F1 team. Obviously the journey is very tough to get there. and I think your road to the top was more like Premier Inns at McDonald's. Is what your quote before we jumped online. So yeah, going back to kind of how mentally strong do you need to be as a driver? And I think you said off air that over the last couple of years, like I say, you haven't been racing, you're not involved with the team. It is a struggle and is a battle. And how's your support system? What's your support system like? I know you're really close with your family and obviously leaning on that sports psychiatrist. How have they helped you, and how is there some sort of mechanisms that you've used to get you to where you are today?
I think especially like family's really, really big thing for me, because at the end of the day, it's always been my family. And there's some days like I might rarely see my mum, especially racing in the year. They put a lot of effort in me to go out there and race. Which
your dad's out the country as well, is that right?
Yeah. So my dad's out of the country, so I obviously speak to him on the phone every day, and we think of ways of getting back in the car. But I think racing is such a mental sport, and I think, like I said, on the outside is all fast cars, champagne, Monaco, that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where on the road to F1 or even in F1, it's not 100% like that. I think on my side was that I remember I was competing in the European Formula 3 Championship in 2022, and I won races that year, got fastest laps, started front row. Was doing well. Actually finished fifth. Just finished fifth in the championship actually that year. But what was going on mentally and behind closed doors wasn't fun, sort of thing. Didn't have a seat for 2023, so that played on the back of my mind probably halfway through the year. And you felt like you had to prove that you're good enough to make that next step. I just remember the conversation I had with my father and my mum and my dad, and we said, Josh, we just don't have the finances to make the next step. So this might be your last year racing. But just enjoy it and just go for it.
Yeah.
So that put me in a kind of bad place. Even though we were still,
I suppose that's the added pressure that your parents probably didn't think that they were putting on yourself. But
I think the pressure is something me and my family don't really use that much, because I think both my parents know that the only person who puts most pressure on themselves is me.
Yeah.
And you are in a pressure sport. But at the end of 2022, I didn't have a seat for 2023, and I was pretty much down the slums a little bit, emotionally.
Yeah.
But I had an opportunity, actually, funny enough, to actually go to New Zealand and race for 8 weeks. So I jumped straight to that opportunity.
This is a good way to sort of distract yourself.
In the beginning of 2023, so that's from January all the way to March, and we finished championship. Actually, won a race in New Zealand, so that was good. But still, again, didn't have a full campaign for 2023. And I actually remember my old teammate, Christian, he was moving up to the World Formula 3, the FIA Formula 3. And I just remember it, and how emotional the sport can get. Is I was watching him on Sky Sports, doing his home event in Australia. Super happy with him as a friend. And I remember sitting in my bed watching at 2 a.m. I just burst into tears, because I thought, I'm happy for him, but I should be out there with him.
That's where you want
to be. But what stopped me was money. Money stopped me from making that jump. Was he better than me? No. The only thing he had, I didn't, was just the finances.
Yeah.
But by having that emotion to the sport and that passion to the sport, it felt like my life was taken away from me.
Yeah.
So as any other driver, I didn't want to let it get to me too much. So I kept up with the training. I kept with the physical training and the sim training, and just keep myself ready, because you never know what could come.
Which, like you said, getting that chance in F2 is just on midnight, the phone rings.
But
So
yeah,
you don't
that's
know what's around the corner. Yeah.
That's exactly what
That's it.
happened. What happened to build up to that was me and my dad had a meeting with a team owner who does F3 in Formula 2. And it was a successful meeting, but at that time I thought, okay, nothing would really amount to it. But I got opportunity to race with my old team for 2022. They're like, Josh, we got to see, do you want to jump in and race? I thought, yeah, why not? It was actually funny. I've had the Hungaroring in Hungary. Probably one of the best race weekends I've ever had in that car. 3 races, finished 3rd in race 1, 2nd in race 2, then 1 race 3. Just a perfect weekend. And that's when the F2 opportunity came, because they saw that race. The meeting I had in March, that team owner threw my hat in the ring, saying, give this guy a chance. The team even spoke to my old engineer from European Formula 3, said, don't worry, like Josh will be fine, because they were thinking, should we put him in the car or not?
Yeah.
But that's what happened. And like I said, I had the opportunity to do Formula 2, did the 4 races, did Belgium, did Zandvoort in Netherlands, did Abu Dhabi. We ended the season in Abu Dhabi, and I did Monza as well. Before Abu Dhabi, I think all my prayers were answered. I got an investor who wanted to invest for me to do Formula 2 in 2024. And I remember Dad rang me saying, Josh, you got the F2 seat for 2024.
Yeah.
Super stoked, super happy. Went out, did the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix weekend. Had such a good time. Learned a lot through the races.
Yeah.
And then did postseason testing with the team. And actually, one of my best mates flew all the way from. Well, actually, he was in England at the time. Flew from England all the way to Abu Dhabi to surprise me, and we had such a good weekend. And he was like, my friend asked me, so Josh, what's the plan? And I said, I wanted to surprise you about it, but I got the seat for F2. He was so happy. I think it was more happy than I was. He was so. He goes, okay, so he was like to me, so I'm going to rent them both for Monaco. I'm like, dude, don't get...
that's it. Yeah.
Just relax. So everything was in place. And then the team I was going to race with, they had the announcement ready. They showed me like the preview of the announcement. Then 2 weeks before the first round in Bahrain, my investor pulls out.
Jesus.
Yeah. He pulled out
Another setback.
Pulled out the investment. So now I'm back at square one. Don't have a seat for 2024 now. And put me back a lot again emotionally.
Like you say, so you said earlier, you're leaning into your fitness, your family, your routine to kind of get you through that.
Yeah, like it really did try and get me through that. But that's when I picked up a manager that year for 2024 to help me and my family find money to go racing.
Okay.
But again, fortunately enough, I had another opportunity now to go across the pond to America to race the Indy NXT Championship, which is basically the championship below IndyCar, and IndyCar is the top level of single city racing in America. Mm-hmm. So I got the opportunity, flew out all the way to America with my trainer at the time, and we spent about 2 weeks there before the first race in Tampa in Florida. Everything was going very, very well. Had a good weekend, and then we had 2 months off. So I flew back to England, kept for the training, eating, sleeping. A manager was doing his job, going out finding money. Then the next race was in Alabama, so I flew back to America, and the race itself, the race weekend, just wasn't good. didn't have any pace. Actually, me and my teammate had no pace, but one of our teammates actually won the race.
Right.
He was just up the road.
Yeah.
So wasn't really happy about it. So I said to the team, like, okay, there's a test day coming up soon. Let's do it. Let's sort this out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then I was having dinner, like I said, as a racing driver, I was having dinner in Arby's. I was sitting in Arby's.
What sort of bees?
Arby's is like, trying to think. It's probably like a harvester.
Right.
Yeah. It's like similar to a harvester.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was sitting there, obviously looking at the menu, thinking, okay, I can't eat a lot of this stuff. So I went for like steamed broccoli, a little bit of potatoes, and chicken.
What came out?
Yeah. And my manager and my dad were sitting next to each other, like opposite me. So I felt like I was being interviewed. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And that's where my manager said to me, Josh, you're no longer racing. You're no longer racing. So I said, what do you mean I'm no longer racing? And he said, the money is not coming through. You're not racing in this championship anymore. After two rounds.
Mm.
And this is all happening in the beginning of 2024.
Yeah.
So I lost the F2 seat, got the opportunity to go to America, and now that's been taken away. So again, that really put me in a really, really, really low place. You know, to the point actually my mother got scared for me because I was in such a low place. And you know, my mother will tell you, saying that Josh isn't that sort of person to be that. I never seen my son that low before. So when I mean low, like depression really, really kicked in, really, really like bad thoughts of like taking your life away. Like it got really, really, really bad.
And did you seek help at this point? Did you know, I know it sounds like a silly question, but did you know that you were that low? Did you know that you'd obviously completely changed? Yeah,
sort of yes and no. I knew I'd changed, but like my brain at the time was like telling me something's just not right. And funny enough, actually, when I came back, I actually had a Q&A session with Great Wallstead.
Okay, the school,
after this news just broke out, like to me.
Yeah.
So I had to put a brave face on, went to the school, talked to the kids, and you know, tell them what it's like to be a racing driver. And you just sort of have to like had the perk up and say, how great it is. How great it is.
You got to kind of almost sell it to them a little bit as well. You don't want to crush their dreams and say, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for them it was just amazing because I had someone like, oh, he went to our school and he's now doing this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that was going on, but behind the scenes. Then I spoke to my psychologist about it, and he just knew straight away. Said, okay, something's not right with Josh. You can see how I was sitting, how I was talking, and this went on for about 3 or 4 months. 3 or 4 months where...
Did you have people telling you as well? Did you just people in your ear? Like you said, your mum was worried.
My mum was worried, but I think I truly showed it to my mum.
Okay.
I try to keep it away from my sisters as much as possible, but my sisters know me so well that like something's not right. Spoke to a doctor. Luckily, they thought I was on the verge of being clinically depressed, but I didn't reach that point. Even though I felt that point, didn't reach it, which was good news. But again, during that time, basically and this all started at the end of 2022. All this was going on.
Yeah, it's all building up.
You know, I had my close friends there. Even my close friends didn't really know what was going on. You know, I think maybe 1 or 2 knew. They're like, okay, Josh, like, how's it going? They always ask me how was I all the time.
Yeah.
I said, I'm feeling better. But during that time, I sort of had 2 options: either stay this low, or maybe we might have another 2023 moment where I put myself in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And something could come up.
Yeah.
So I was like, enough is enough, Josh. Get back in the gym. You know, get on the sim again. You You've got your family around you. You know, you've got a good team around you. You know, something could happen. Which actually, fine enough, it did. I got another opportunity to go back out to America just to do testing now. So not racing, to do testing, but that's better than nothing.
Yeah, of course.
When to do the test, and yeah, more mistakes happened. You know, I think I put too much pressure on myself, overdrove. A lot of mistakes came in, but now I'm in a better place now. Obviously, meeting Jordan in the run club, and you know, going out more in the fitness world and doing other things, while doing that, also the mentoring for young drivers. I'm in a better place and still waiting for the opportunity.
I guess that's all you can do, isn't it? Put yourself in that, like we say, put yourself in that right place at the right time. If you're not out there doing it, that you're never going to be in the right place at the right time. So just keep pushing, keep putting yourself in the position to hopefully get that opportunity.
No, but exactly. And I also think that in every great story, which I believe in, is never plain sailing. You know, you see all these athletes who've reached the top, smashed records, things like that.
Yeah.
If you look at their stories, it's never been,
plain sailing.
They just gradually reached the top. You know, they always had setbacks. And I felt like last year in 2023 was my setback. And it's one of those things which I now never want to be in again.
Yeah.
And I think also subconsciously as well, people don't think they take things for granted. And I think that's what happened to me subconsciously for my racing career. Because I was doing it year after year. You know, I was missing school for it. So
the dream, yeah.
The dream, exactly. Traveling the world, you know, living the dream at 16, 17.
Mate, I think that's massive. Hats off to you, mate, and shows your kind of character and where you're at. You're still young. You're 23.
23, yeah.
And it's kind of what you've just alluded to then, what you said, and how you've kind of dealt with that at such a young age, realised it, picked yourself up time and time again from those massive, massive setbacks. And like you say, you see in friends and people that you've raced with over the years go on to do things that you're aspiring to do as well. But you're still here, you're still putting in work with the children, trying to inspire them, mentoring young children, and trying to get yourself out there to keep yourself in tip-top shape for racing. So massive hats off to you, mate.
Yeah.
That's brilliant stuff.
I think it's important because it shows not just myself, but it just shows that how much you want something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what stage you're in. If you want it, you will go for it. If it's my last breath, if I want it, I want it. I'm gonna go for it. So that was my journey for the last 2 years, and
wow.
Amazing.
What a mentality to have.
Yeah, let's see what 2025 brings.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could sit here and talk for a lot longer to be honest, and cover a lot more, but I think the cameras are going to pack up, so we might have to wrap it up. But
I'll have to do a Josh Mason series too.
Do another episode.
Well, if I do race this year, then you got another series. So
there we
go.
Absolutely.
We'll have to take it abroad. We'll follow Josh around the world. Yeah. Next episode.
Good excuse for a trip.
Bahrain or Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Do one there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And we still need to get around the track, Josh. I have to go to the track and test our skills against you.
Oh yeah, I think that'll be great. That'll be
start Mario Kart, build up to the sim maybe.
Yeah,
get us behind
and get behind a go-kart and then behind a car.
I bet you can't 3-point turn a van in a school car park. I mean that's no mean feat.
Oh, probably not, to be honest. Like I only parallel park once in my entire life, and that's only for my driving test. I've never parallel parked since.
So I guess were you driving before you could drive on the roads?
Yeah, so
quite a lot of racing drivers like that, isn't they? Like they don't have a driver's license because they're not old enough. But they're
I drove my first race car at 14, 15. Yeah, and every car driven before my driving test has always been in the center. So when you put me to the right, I'm like, what is going on?
Mate, can we just do a last shout out? Because I know you did just give us a quick overview of what was the 100k challenge you did?
Oh, the Great Ormond Street.
Yeah, for Great Ormond Street.
Yeah, Great Ormond Street charity. Ran 100k during the month of February to raise money for children who are in not great places physically, and I think every child shouldn't be in that state and go on to live a long living life.
Yeah, that's amazing. We'll add your link down in
and Instagram. So if you want to follow Josh's journey, get involved. Hopefully we'll see you in the F1 in the near future.
Yeah, that's still the goal. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah,
cheers, Josh. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Cheers, no worries.
See you at Run Club on Friday.
See you on Friday.
And tune in for another episode next month. But let us know in the comments what you thought. And as I say, get in touch, follow Josh's journey, and hopefully we'll see him on the big screens very soon. Thank you for watching, as always.
See you later.